You can have a genius-level IQ and still make spectacularly stupid decisions. The smartest kid in class is often not the one who wins at life. And by the end of this, you will see exactly why. There is nothing more annoying than a conversation with people who are quicker, sharper, and better read than you. It can feel inspiring, but let us be honest, you would rather be the clever one. Here is the good news. No matter your talent, your school history, or where you are right now, you can become wiser than them. Not luckier, wiser. And that is a skill you can train. Most of us think smart people are the ones with the best grades, who learn fast and effortlessly, and who can crack the most complicated topics. That picture is everywhere. It is also mostly wrong, because you can be brilliant on paper and barely manage real life. Top marks, academic awards, a sky-high IQ score. None of it guarantees success at work or at home, and this clashes hard with how school actually works. Every stage of education ends with a test that has one official answer key. You learn the patterns, you chase the points. Why? Because there are rankings for high schools and rankings for universities. So to win that game, you learn how to get the grade. You learn the system, and let us say it out loud. Most top students are not rare geniuses. They are persistent, hardworking people who learn to fit the machine. That works beautifully until one day it does not. Because at some point, life starts asking questions that have no answer key, no correct option B, no teacher to grade you, and that is where the real exam begins. Now think about the people with sky-high IQ scores. Those numbers still impress us. We instantly predict a bright future for them. But what does that number actually tell us? Here is the catch. Tests and grades only show how well you handle one type of task. Sometimes that comes from raw biology, sometimes from family support or tutoring, sometimes from sheer effort, and sometimes all of that still is not enough. Because success means something different for everyone. A fortune, traveling the world, being the best at a sport, or music. There is a huge long-term study that followed people from childhood for decades. When researchers checked what best predicts adult life satisfaction, intelligence was not even on the podium. The strongest factors were the soft ones: emotional health and social behavior. Intellectual development came in dead last as a predictor of a satisfying life. Read that again. So this is not an episode about boosting your IQ. This is about becoming wiser, making better decisions, learning faster and deeper, falling into fewer mental traps, and handling people well. First, we need to clean up the words, because this is where all the confusion lives. Intelligence, the IQ kind, is how fast you spot patterns and juggle information you already have. Wisdom answers a different question. Not, can I solve this, but what should I actually do, and how? It pulls in context, values, consequences, uncertainty, and the effect on other people. Then there are two more ideas that barely show up in everyday talk. First, practical sharpness, the skill of listening, observing, learning from people, and understanding them with real empathy. Second, effectiveness, the final result, which depends not just on your head, but on execution, on resources, and on plain old luck. Hold those 4 words. They are about to do real work. Picture a simple decision. Moving to a new city. Intelligence builds a spreadsheet. Commute times, costs, budget, clean, logical, neat. Wisdom runs a life simulation. How will this hit your health, your relationships, your energy, your sense of meaning? It asks the questions a spreadsheet can never show. Sharpness sends you to talk to people who already did it. And effectiveness is the moment you actually move, and reality reveals whether you were right. Different tools, different jobs. And that is the trap. The problem starts when you use one tool for everything. Like driving a screw with a spoon. Sure, you can, but why would you? Now here is the part that should give you hope. Wisdom is the one thing that can grow with age, as long as you do not kill it with your lifestyle. It sounds like a quote off a coffee mug, but the science is surprisingly sober. The fast intelligence, the kind that cracks brand new problems, weakens as you age. But knowledge, experience, reading context, and blending perspectives can keep rising for a very long time. Wisdom-related knowledge stays stable through most of adulthood and only drops late, and it drops mainly when a person stops being mentally and socially active. So if you are already an adult, this matters enormously. The story that the genius window is closed is just false. It is easy to think, I am not a genius anymore, so it is over. Or, I made mistakes, so I must be stupid. No, it usually means you are just now learning tools nobody taught you. And here is one of the most important tools in this whole episode: intellectual humility. It sounds like advice from your grandmother. In practice, it is a superpower. People who are certain they know everything stop growing. People who see the edges of their own knowledge keep checking, asking, and correcting course, and they make better decisions. Research says that simply allowing yourself not to know is powerful. When you honestly say, I do not know, you give yourself permission to find the answer. Nobody knows everything. Think of running a business. You can be great at ideas and terrible at accounting. The wise move is not faking it. It is finding the right person to ask. That is the entire principle. Now to a skill most people ignore, and it makes a bigger difference than any grade: practical sharpness, wisdom inside relationships. This is the person who may not be fastest at math, but in a social moment sees more. They hear what is said between the lines. They ask questions that open a conversation instead of closing it. You can have a brilliant mind and be socially useless, great logic, and still wreck relationships, because in every argument, you only want to win, winning the point, losing the person, and you can be average in speed and thrive because you listen, build trust, understand people, and ask for feedback. So start one habit today. In conversations, ask more than you declare. Not gotcha questions like, you admit I am right, yeah? Real ones. What convinced you of this? What experience shaped that? What are you afraid of? What matters to you here? That is wisdom training in social form. Now here is a finding that flips everything. A broad analysis looked at how people reach world-class levels in sport, music, science, and chess. The conclusion is wildly counterintuitive. What fuels early success can be the opposite of what builds world-class talent later. Instead of brutal early specialization, the winning strategy is to try many things first, then commit to your best. So if you are 18, 24, or 31 and thinking, too late, no chance, flip it. Your edge may be that you can connect dots across fields, learn well, and decide with wider perspective. There is a saying, a fool learns only after the damage is done. But sit with it, and you realize it only fits some of us. Two people can survive the exact same breakup or layoff. One walks out with new perspective and deeper understanding. The other becomes bitter, rigid, and convinced the world and everyone in it is to blame. Same event, opposite outcome. Why? One of the most validated models of how people grow wise describes 5 psychological traits. They decide whether your experiences enrich you or quietly poison you. First, a sense of agency. Agency means believing you can handle your life while correctly telling apart what you can change from what is out of your hands. Wise people act where they have influence and let go where they have none. Second, openness. Not being nice to everyone. It is the readiness to admit you might be wrong and that another view, even one you reject, could make sense. Mental looseness, not a fortress. Third, reflection. Pulling meaning from what happened. Not endless what-ifs, not blaming yourself, but asking, what did this show me, and what can I do slightly better next time? Simple, no drama. Fourth, emotional regulation. You can have a great mind, but if you decide in anger, fear, or runaway ambition, your intelligence becomes an engine with no brakes. Wisdom often looks like a pause. Fifth, empathy. Seeing another person's perspective and what drives them, even when you disagree or simply do not understand. Because most big failures in life are not logic errors, they are relationship errors. And if none of these describe you today, do not panic, they can all be trained. Treat wisdom as a set of skills, not a label, and suddenly you have leverage. You do not need to change your genetics. 2 boring foundations make a massive difference. Sleep and attention hygiene. Sleep 5 hours or less, and you remember less. Control emotions worse, and make rasher choices. No coffee fixes that, and drop the myth of multitasking. Your brain cannot truly do several things at once. It rapidly switches, and that is wildly inefficient. You understand less, remember less, and make more mistakes. Many people also expect to get wiser by passively swallowing videos, podcasts, and summaries. The problem is your brain confuses feeling familiar with actually knowing. Watching is not understanding. So after every chunk of content, do something active. Explain the topic from memory. Quiz yourself. Solve a small problem. Then add deliberate practice on the hard part with instant correction. Step into the zone of light discomfort where mistakes appear. Those mistakes show what needs work. Then space your repetitions. Next day, 3 days later, a week later, no fireworks, just results. And the last thing we avoid like fire, but should chase: cognitive dissonance. That jolt when a view clashes with yours and you instantly think, what nonsense. Stay with the discomfort. Wisdom is not knowing more. It is wrecking your own life less often. The damage rarely comes from low IQ. It comes from no pause, no perspective, and no courage to say, I do not know.